and welcome to another episode of the Nomad Millionaire. Today, we will be going through Dave Ramsey's baby steps. Now, Dave Ramsey, to be completely honest, I'm a huge fan. I think he's helped so many people's lives. I think he is super entertaining. I think he's a role model for so many YouTubers out there trying to do good work. So, just as an FYI, I think he's done extremely well in terms of helping people. He's, of course, done extremely well for himself as well. And so not anything negative to say about him. My only thing today is he has his baby steps. He's helped millions of people build wealth through the baby steps. And we have now come up with the Nomad Millionaire Steps because we wanted to find the shortest path between you and wealth, essentially what he's trying to do as well. But we think we've identified and something when he came up with these baby steps probably 20 or 30 years ago that wasn't being taken into account was the financial arbitrage of getting a remote job and go to a 0% tax place and saving up more than 50% of your salary. That is today the shortest path between you and wealth. That's just undeniable. So we just want to, we'll take his take on it. We'll see where we agree, where we disagree. And again, we are huge fans of Dave Ramsey. We think he's done an incredible job. He's taught people personal finance from the get-go. He's helped people get out of debt, live stress-free. And so we have nothing negative to say about him, besides the point that we think there is a shorter path between you and wealth than what he has identified. Let's get into it.
So, George, 30 years ago when I started teaching this stuff, I was first teaching people how to get out of debt, live on a budget, be generous, live on less than you make. So you have a plan, you avoid debt, you save money for emergencies and later for investing. And all of those principles work, but people kept saying, which one do I do first? And so I started laying out, well, you should do this first and that first. You should have an emergency fund before you start your 401k. And then I figured out it's easier to have an emergency fund if you don't have any payments. And so you need to get out of debt first. Because, of course, I learned my lesson the hard way, going bankrupt and getting out of debt, and learning how important it was to be debt-free as a part of building wealth. So all of that started to formulate after a few years of teaching.
That's the first point we actually agree with. The fact that you actually get out of debt, or what we call any consumer debt. So if you have a mortgage, these things you can, or if you have rental income, or there is asset-based debt, and then there is consumer debt. The first key is to get completely out of any consumer debt. As this clears the way, makes it easier for you. So we completely agree. Get out of debt before we really start compounding wealth.
In various settings, and what became Financial Peace University, it used to be called Life After Debt, and it started becoming what we now call the baby steps. And the interesting thing is that now the baby steps have gone into the Total Money Makeover book, which has sold almost 10 million copies, and they have become the proven plan, the shortest distance between where you are now and wealth. Where you are, if you'll live like no one else later, you can live.
That's my point, guys. It is his plan, and we will go through it, is not the shortest path between you and wealth. It's just not true. Because his plan says that you save up 50% of your income and these things. Because you live in the US, and another thing that's just happened over time, as sort of versus when he made the baby steps in the first place, is just all over US. If you look at the housing cost and the living cost, how much they've risen faster than salaries. So most places around the US now, you need 2 or 3 salaries to buy the same home, to save up the same amount of your paycheck. So, because of the trends we've outlined before on this channel, that's also happened in the US, which is the labor class, the middle class have been completely squeezed. And the salaries, because of sort of like the labor versus capital in society, we've seen capital have much more leverage over labor. That capital has been growing a lot faster, assets price has been growing a lot faster than labor salaries over the years, which has led to the baby steps being less powerful. That's all we say, and we are here to give your salary completely back. And there is a number of ways to do that. We've identified 45 places around the world where you can go to. That's one option. There's other options, of course, but the truth is, the shortest distance between you and wealth is not the baby steps anymore. There is a new path. And let's get into it.
And give like no one else. What is the shortest distance? And we need a path to run on, because the way you eat an elephant, it's overwhelming. Do I do my 401k with the match, or my kid's college? Or do I have an emergency fund? Or do I pay on this 18% credit card debt? Or, and nothing gets done. You get paralysis of the analysis. You get frozen.
Absolutely. And this step, these baby steps have worked for me. They've worked for millions. And it's really simple. If you do it, they work. And it all starts with baby step 1, having this foundation, saving $1,000 for.
Well, yeah, it's actually true. The way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. And the fact that there is a path, there's steps you can follow, I think that is very, very powerful. And that's also why we came up with Nomad Millionaire Steps, is exactly to do that. A stepping process to get to a net savings rate of 50%. It might take you 6 months to get there. It might take you a year to get there. But there is a path for you to build real wealth. And the shortest path is the Nomad Millionaire Steps.
For a starter emergency fund. This is just a small buffer between you and life before we start tackling the debt.
Exactly. And if you have $1,000 already, great. Just set that aside. That's your baby step 1. Any money you have that's not retirement, anything you can sell that is not retirement, you're going to liquidate it. If it's not retirement, you got some stock over here that grandpa left you. You got a gold bar under your bed. I don't know what it is, but you got any money that's above $1,000. Maybe you got $10,000 in a savings account. That's $9,000 you've got that you don't need past baby step 1. We're going to put it all on baby step 2. And baby step 2 is the famous one. That's the debt snowball, where you list your debts smallest to largest. You pay minimum payments on everything but the little one, and you attack the little one with a vengeance. Side note, baby step 1 should not take you more than 30 days. Maximum. You need to work extra, sell some stuff, have a garage sale, put the kids on Craigslist, whatever you got to do here. Let's get it done. And we're going to get busted into this, get $1,000 quick. Baby step 2, you should be debt-free, but your house. Now, you may have to sell a stupid boat. You may have to take an extra job. But most people that have followed the Total Money Makeover baby steps in Financial Peace University are debt-free inside of 2 years.
Yeah, and that's with doing it with some gazelle intensity, like you talk about in Financial Peace University. And once you pay off all that debt, now you freed up all those payments, right? You have that income
Think
back
about
in
what
your
it'd be
life.
like to have no payments but a house payment. Wow.
We're breathing easy. And then we can move on to baby step 3, where we save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a fully funded emergency fund. This is the final buffer where we say we're never going back into debt because we are the bank now.
Yep.
We actually agree on the third step here. Like the first two is, of course, a bit. The debt snowball, Dave Ramsey is very famous for it. And yeah, there is some truth behind the fact that if you pay off something, so it means you should, doesn't matter about the interest rate, just pay off the smallest amount, because you actually get a win when you pay something off, and it hits a dopamine in your in your mind, and you'll feel good about it, and so you will continue to do it. We still think a lot of you out there that has come past that and is actually just really into, no, let me get to the shortest path to wealth. You'll pay off the highest interest rates first. It is maybe a controversial take. We disagree a bit on him here, but again, 2 first steps, you can sort of say a bit what you want about those. Third step, we really agree on. Build an emergency fund so that when new things come up, and for us, it's a moving fund. So the Nomad Millionaire Steps, step 3 is we need to build a moving fund. We need to have not enough capital to actually go to a place where we can start building wealth. So that's their emergency fund. For us, it's a moving fund.
Grandma's rainy day fund. Why? It's going to rain. Dave, you need to be positive. I'm positive. It's going to rain. You need to be ready when crap happens. There's a pandemic coming around every corner. There's something coming. And if you have $20,000 cash in the bank, 3 to 6 months of expenses, whatever it is, and you have no payments, you are the third pig in the 3 little pigs, the one that's in the brick house when the big bad wolf comes. You're ready for life. You're ready to go. Now you're ready to build wealth. But that you just now have gotten up to ground zero. You've just now gotten up to even. When you have that emergency fund and you're debt free, now you're ready to build wealth. And in baby step 4, you put 15% of your income aside into good growth stock mutual funds in retirement plans. Start where there's a match. Beyond the match, always do Roth. And if you've exhausted Roth and match and still are not to 15%, then go on to a traditional 401k or.
Okay, here we can see, of course, his is very specific. If you live in the US, it might be a bit different where you are in the world. But our whole thing is, he's correct. Now we got to, for him, step 4 is you got out of consumer debt and you have an emergency fund, and now you're starting to build wealth. We are actually already now in step 7 in our process. This is where we've managed to get to where we want to go. We've managed to get to a net savings rate of 50%. His is 15%. We get to 50%. Why? Because in the US, it's impossible, right? Federal taxes are 33, 34%. State taxes, a lot of places, close to 10%. So you're paying 40 to 45% in taxes, depending on where you are. Housing costs have risen a lot. So out of salaries, normally you will take 15 to 20 to 30% as well. So what he's identified is that it's not impossible for people to save up more than 15% of their capital once they get to once they get debt free. So what we actually think is, it's not the shortest path anymore to wealth. It's undeniably not the fact. Now, it could be that if you don't want to move, we think that the baby steps are still the best approach for you, right? Because it gets everyone to a good place. But if you are ambitious and if you are like had a moment where you're like, no, I want to join the capital class today or start joining it today, we think Nomad Millionaire Steps is for you.
IRA. But do Roths before traditional and do match before Roths. It's mathematically in your favor to do that, up to the 15%. Don't do 20%, don't do 11%, do 15%. While you are doing baby steps 4, you're also going to be doing 5 and 6 simultaneously.
Absolutely. So baby step 5 is where we're saving for our children's college fund. And this is going to look different for everyone. There's no set number here because it really depends on your situation.
Did you have the baby last week, or is the baby 18? That makes a difference on how much you need for college, right? I mean, what you got to do for college. Just like, is this a no crap moment, or hey, we're going to be diligent and safe? Did we wait almost until too late? Now, they have to go to college debt free. They cannot participate in this epic student loan system failure that is called America right now. It is horrible out there. Do not let your kids go in debt. You do not have to go to debt. Go to community college for free for 2 years. Go to in-state school, work 6 jobs, get scholarships. Our student loan problem is a parenting problem. Mom and dad let kids sign up for crap they couldn't afford. Bad mama, bad daddy.
They got to have the conversations. That's where it starts. And there's a reason you say baby step 4, invest for yourself before the kids, because there's a 100% chance you're going to retire. There's a 50-50 chance or less these days that your kid's going to go to college.
And graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is less than 50% chance they're going to graduate. So this is important.
Yes, you could see essentially all his 4, 5, and 6 is all about saving up, right? If you're saving up to kids' college, if you're saving up on your home, if you're saving up. So it's a bit what we're actually seeing. It's just savings, right? So what he's saying is 15% goes into your retirement accounts, and then whatever you can save up to college, and how much else you can actually throw at the house. Now, what we are seeing is, again, I don't think he's taking into account versus when he made these steps in the first place, how bad the affordability crisis have gotten in most of these Western places. So people that call in now that makes $50K a year, of course, in an ideal situation, they can actually do this, can save up 15% and save up for college and pay off the house over time. The honest truth is just people are struggling to do that. 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Probably when Dave Ramsey, we'll share the case study at some point around the US, but I would guess that when he started these 20 years ago, the baby steps, that only 40 to 50% live paycheck to paycheck. So probably almost a double amount of people in the US now live paycheck to paycheck. So as successful as he's been, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And of course, there is a little bit of you just knowing and following a plan. But the other plan is that the raw reality of the math is that you in the working class are getting squeezed out with the salary where you are probably currently living. And we need a different path. And again, you can do the Dave Ramsey steps here, baby steps, and only saving up 15%, and it will take you that much longer. We're not saying we are the only solution. We are saying we are the fastest solution to wealth. And that is hard to deny. It's better to save up 50% than 15% last time I checked. So that's just, there is no denying that. Now, it could be that you, for a personal reason, don't want to leave, or that you can't get a remote job. Anybody can get a remote job today if you are qualified and if you actually work towards it. It might take you 6 months, it might take you 4 months, it might take you 5 months. But the jobs are there. And again, anybody can do this. Anybody can get to a 50% net savings rate and build wealth in the fastest manner possible. It's up to you.
So while you're doing 15%, you do whatever you need to do for your kids' college, whatever you decide to do for your kids' college. Beyond that, if you can find any money, you do that on baby step 6, and that's pay off your house. Start chunking on the house. Now, when you're in 1 through 3, you are so intense, your friends are freaking out. Your grandmother thinks you need counseling. You are gazelle intense, like a gazelle running from a cheetah. When you're in 4 through 7, you're not intense anymore. You are now intentional. You're just doing it on purpose. But you're no longer on beans and rice. You're on beans and rice, rice and beans. Scorched earth on 1 through 3 till you get those 3 things done. Now, get that house paid.
And that's the reality, guys. If you are going to actually complete step 3, 4, 5, and 6 in today's America, again, the American dream is no longer there. It's now about the Nomad Millionaire dream. We've outlined this before. The math doesn't work anymore. The middle class have been squeezed. During COVID, it got worse and worse and worse, and there's now no stopping this trend. You have to take care of your own ones, of course, your loved ones, your family, yourself. And everybody does, but it's not working out for the middle class anymore. Cost of living has gone up too fast versus the salaries. The housing cost has gone up too fast versus the salaries. The salary is harder and harder to build wealth on if you're living in the US, UK, Germany, France. You get the point. These countries, they've simply destroyed the middle class. No denying it. Again, so these are his steps. Step 7 is you actually are a baby step millionaire. That's his whole point here. But so if we are to summarize the baby steps versus Nomad Millionaire steps, we actually think what you should do, let's say in an ideal world, you are 26, you're coming out of university, you're coming out of college, but yeah, and your first job, the first 5 years, you say, okay, I am just gonna really go intense the first 5 years. I'm gonna get to net savings rate of 50 to 75%. You might live in the US today and you take a job working remote for some tech company or some other company, and you go to Paraguay or to Colombia, you go to Uruguay. There's a lot of these places that is much better living than what we actually think, and we'll of course start to outline more of that here. And you're saving up 75 to 80% of your salary. You're making 70 to 80K. You come back, you're already at 300 or 400K. You can buy a house cash free, and then you can actually do the baby steps from step 7. And so we actually think the ultimate thing here is, let's say if you don't actually want to go out, is still do it for 5 years. That's what we say. Do the Nomad Millionaire steps for 5 years, and you will get there. And that is the key here, guys. If we can get to the Nomad Millionaire steps and do it for 5 years, then you can do the baby steps afterwards and actually start at step 7. And like, instead of only saving up 15%, why not go hardcore for 5 years? That's what we're saying, Now, that was it, guys. The Nomad Millionaire steps versus the baby steps. And again, we are a huge fan of Dave Ramsey. There's nothing here we actually disagree on, besides the fact that he said the shortest path between you and wealth is the baby steps. That's not true. The shortest path between you and wealth is the Nomad Millionaire steps. Like and subscribe, guys. Hope you really found value in this. We'll be coming out with a lot more content. Thank you.
Paid off. The average